How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Crafting Cars. In today's video, we're going to be continuing our Widebody Civic transformation. Now, in our last episode, we tried our hand at laying fiberglass for the first time after our custom foam molds. Now, while the product turned out pretty nice, the fitment on the car was less than ideal. So today, we're going to be giving it another shot with some new techniques, and if everything goes smoothly, we'll move on to laying some carbon fiber. So the biggest change is we have the mold mounted on the car instead of in a jig. When we had it in a jig inside, it was nice and warm and easy to work with, and we knew what our set time was going to be, more of a controlled environment. But unfortunately, in the jig, the natural bend of the foam just creates a perfect, basically rainbow arch. But in real life, on the car, the arch is not perfect. I think it tapers in a little bit more aggressively on the corners. So having it mounted on the car is going to provide us with much better fitment as the product cures. And to take that fitment and make it even tighter, I went ahead and sanded the back side of our mold. So you can see the edge sits nice and tight against the car. That's what I'm talking about. Before, it basically just had a squared off edge. It meant the top edge of the fiberglass was sticking out about a 1/4 inch from the surface of the car. And yeah, not as clean as this. So another thing I'm changing is we're using a different type of release agent. Before we used foil tape. Now this is mold release tape. The brand is Tuck Tape. And to take it one step further, I coated it with this mold release spray. This should make it way easier to pop the mold and the resin right off the surface. Another thing we did is we took this mold here and sliced it like 1,000 times. You can see really closely, you can see all the slices in it. That allowed us to bend it even easier, so we only needed 8 pieces of tape to hold it on the car. Before, when I was trying to mock up the foam fender, me and Gideon had to hold it at the same time while applying like 20 pieces of tape and a couple other things. Last time we used 2 layers of fiberglass, and it's just a little bit too stiff for my liking, especially if we were to put a coat of carbon fiber and a couple more coats of resin on this product here. So today we're only gonna be using 1 layer of fiberglass, and then of course we'll have the carbon on top if everything works out. Another product we're gonna be trying is this peel ply. So on our top coat of resin, after we put on, the base coat, the fiberglass, work the top coat in. After that top coat, we're gonna put these peel ply on top. And what this is supposed to do is kind of allow the surface to cure with a nice kind of micro textured finish. So it's nice and even and ready for another layer once it's fully cured. And apparently this stuff is supposed to peel right off the cured surface. So we will see about that. We got some more tools today to kind of help us work out any bubbles or any impurities or anything like that that might pop up when we're laying out the fiberglass. For example, we got these metal rollers here. When you put the peel ply on, the best way to take out bubbles, I guess, is to use a little squeegee. So I got a squeegee left over from all my vinyl wrapping. And another cool product we're gonna be trying today is this black resin dye. This will color our epoxy resin black, nice deep black color. So it'll be easier to know where we kind of laid it. Make sure we lay it out nice and evenly. And another benefit is it's gonna provide us with a nice black background so we don't have any weird like yellowish foam color shining through our carbon fiber weave when we get to that step. And another thing, it's like 30 degrees outside, so it's still a little chilly in the garage. So to make sure everything cures on time, we gotta get it warmed up in here. So I've got a little heater set up right there. I've got my old propane heater set up right there. I got the door to my house opened up to let all that heat through here. And we got Jonathan cooking up some heat in the kitchen. Oh, I like the Crafting Cars merch.
Yeah, I got a rep.
That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, it won't be long. We'll have it heated up in here. I'll go ahead and set the camera up at a good angle to make sure I can capture the entire process. And we'll get right to work and cross our fingers. Hopefully everything goes well this time. The wet layup went nice and smooth. We got a nice clean result here. Using that peel ply helped get a nice clean flat surface as well. Hopefully it peels off the flare nice and easy, and hopefully the flare peels off the car nice and easy. But there's really only one way to find out. I've already let this cure for a couple hours, so it's nice and dry. So yeah, let's give it a shot. I am so scared right now, you guys have no idea. All right. Success. Look at that. It holds its bend, but it's not too stiff. Man, I think we done it. Oh, and it falls right back into place. That is what I'm talking about. So the next challenge is to carefully remove this layer of peel ply without doing any damage to the flare. So, see how this goes. So far it's peeled off the whole thing pretty nice, leaving a pretty dang nice flat surface, as it's supposed to. This must not be fully cured in this corner yet, because yeah, once I get up here, it's a little stickier, so maybe I left it on a little too thick over here. Good news, got that last corner piece off, just had to wait a little bit longer, and yeah, came right off. So now I'm just gonna do a tiny bit of sanding. Thanks to that peel ply, we're pretty much ready to go with the carbon fiber. The only pieces I wanna sand off are kind of the ridge caused by the creases in the peel ply, and any strands that are kind of standing up. Once we lay the carbon fiber on, using pretty much the exact same wet layup process that we used on the fiberglass, then we'll go ahead, flip it over and doing our trimming, just so we only have to do the trimming once instead of trimming off the fiberglass, laying on the carbon, and trimming the carbon. So yeah, save a little bit of time that way. And we might actually be able to lay the carbon inside or maybe off the car. I don't think it's gonna warp this too bad. The natural position that this is resting in is actually perfect, unlike our old flare. You kind of see, get her all lined up. It's fitting real good. That is what it's all about. Compare that to our old flare. This thing, and yeah, much better than the old flare. This one was good learning experience, but we're in much better shape with this flare. All right, so sanding is complete. I got the flare kind of on some makeshift jig here, with some forks stabbing into the bottom of the foam on the flare. That's how you know you're watching Crafting Cars. I got my roll of carbon over there, cut out a nice, kind of loosely fitting piece of carbon. Got the edges masked off so it's not frayed. Just got it sitting up there so it doesn't get dirty or I don't splash any epoxy on there while I'm laying it out here. And yeah, this time we're not gonna need any dye because this is the final coat, or at least the final surface that everyone's gonna be able to see, so we don't wanna dye and hide the carbon at all. And just how this project is my first time working with fiberglass, this is my first time working with raw carbon fiber weave. So crossing our fingers, it's basically the exact same process. Hope everything goes nice and smooth. Since the carbon fiber weave lays a lot flatter and is a lot neater than the kind of the messy chopped fiberglass mat, I don't think I'm gonna be able to use, or I don't think I'm gonna need any peel ply on this application. So yeah, we're gonna see. Hopefully everything lays out nice and smooth, and we'll just do layer by layer and hope it turns out good. All right, the carbon is laid out nice and even, and I gotta say that was probably one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my entire life, and probably the top 25 coolest things I've ever done in my entire life. I don't know if it's just me. I think actually probably most car enthusiasts think this way, but we're kind of obsessed with carbon fiber stuff, you know, carbon fiber hood, carbon fiber trunk on the Civic. It's cool stuff, you know, extremely light, extremely strong. I never thought that I'd be working with it, so this is a pretty big day for Afton, as stupid as that sounds, but yeah, so I'll go ahead, wait a couple hours. I need to take a nap, so I'll probably go inside, sleep for 4 hours, come back out, and then we'll go ahead and put on another coat. I'll give you some close-up shots at what it's looking like now, but yeah, the epoxy has already kicked off. And just so, yeah, we got a lot of spare on this one, so don't have to mix up so much next time. Just so you see how hot that stuff gets, look what it does to the cups. So it's been about 4 hours. The part is dry and it's looking awesome. I think before I add any resin and get it too thick, I'm gonna start trimming it up, make sure the fitment on the car is good, of course.
Okay. God damn.
Well, it looks like we're doing it. Fitment's looking real good. You can see hugging the body of the car really nice. The one part that kind of sticks out a little bit is the corners, but that's all right, because once we have hardware, that'll suck that right in, thanks to the little flexibility that we got now. Yeah, I'm really liking how it looks. Now it's time to, you know, add another layer, sand it down, add another layer, sand it down. Try to make this look as smooth as possible to get this weave looking like this weave, you know what I'm saying? So I just got done laying the second coat of resin, and it's looking much better. Super glossy. Beautiful. So I used a smaller brush and the heat gun to kind of work all the little bubbles out of there, since we're not using peel ply. Man, I'm really liking the finish. So once this dries, we'll finally be able to sand it down a little bit, probably apply 1 or maybe 2 more coats of resin. We'll see how it's looking. Yeah, so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. All right guys, so it's been 24 hours since we laid down that second coat of resin. We should be ready to start sanding on it. Plan to go to the store and pick up some 180 grit sanding blocks to get going on it. Unfortunately, the CRV had some other plans, so yeah, go to start it up, and it's not making the best sound right now. See if you guys can hear it. Yeah, we don't like that. Definitely sounds like it's coming from the, Definitely sounds like it's coming from the power steering pump bearings. Luckily, I still have the power steering pump from my old CRV. That was totaled when we parted out, so saved a few $100s on that one. Just gotta pick up some fluid and we'll get that swapped out right away. Until then, I'll be driving my roommate's car. But in the meantime, what I did is I took all of the release tape off the Civic, and I have the fender flare now taped up to the factory fender, so you can kind of see what the finished result's gonna look like. Of course, it's not sanded and polished yet, but you guys can kind of get an idea. Check that out. I'm very stoked on the result here. Fitment's still looking real tight. Yeah, I'll do a couple B-roll shots, of course, for the outro for you guys. Yeah, I couldn't really be happier. Definitely gonna take a little bit more sanding to get some of the kind of like little drips out of here. You can see I've got a little brush bristle in here. I gotta try to get that out. But yeah, I just got it taped up with some clear tape, so it's not really obtrusive to the look. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. As you can see, top edge is still looking nice and tight on the car. However, to clean up the very top edge, where you can kind of see some of the fibers poking out, I'll be using this right here. It's like a rubber liner. It's meant for body kits, fender flares and stuff like that. Helps produce a nice seal between the flare and the fender itself. So yeah, we'll definitely be using that, and in the next couple weeks, I'll keep working on finishing the rest of the 3 flares, getting those, you know, finally that I got the process down. We'll be finishing those up, getting them all polished and everything, and we'll catch back up with you guys, not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. And we'll, yeah, get you guys all up to speed. Probably start cutting the sheet metal, which is like the scariest part of this whole process. But yeah, thank you guys for all the support along the way. A lot of you guys have been supporting me, leaving really nice comments on Instagram and everything, or in the YouTube chats. So yeah, big thanks to you guys. I think first week of April, I'm getting out of here. I'm sick of this cold weather. I'm going to hang out in Florida for a week, so yeah, that is gonna be nice. A little reward for myself for all the work we've been putting in on the car. Yeah, just gonna be nice to get away Until the next Tuesday upload, thank you guys for tuning into Crafting Cars, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.